afternoon, floppers and floppettes. I hope you're all okay. So, just quickly, I wasn't going to say anything because I don't like admitting how old I'm getting. So, before I have a moan, no offence to anyone who is older than me, it's just how I feel as a person and how I feel I'm still losing out on a lot. I'm not losing out, missing out on a lot because time is just going so fast. And like a lot of people, it's just work, 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 have a day off, work, 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 have a day off. And you're like, I'm 44 and like, what the hell? Guys, I'm 44. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I feel like I've been in a typhoon all my life. I do. I feel like I've just sat in a typhoon and it just gone boom. Does anyone else feel like that? The second thing is, I looked at my subscriber count, right? Because my brother rang me a little while ago and he said, "Oh, blimey, your subs have gone up quite a lot in the last few days." And so thank you again, everyone, for that. I really appreciate that. But I was going to say, for my birthday, now I'm middle-aged, white middle-age, lonely OAP, as C Boozy would call me. Let's celebrate it and let's get it to 1,000 today. But I know what's going to happen. I'm going to jinx it, aren't I? Because you know what a calamity I am, what a flop I am. I'll say that, and then I'll get a couple of trolls that will let it get to 1,000 or 1,001, and then what the buggers will do later on is unsubscribe. So I'm not going to jinx anything. But anyway, let's crack on. So I've got a bit to catch up on. I'm still waiting for the book, for goodness sake. What else was there? Oh, allegedly, Mrs. Overseas apparently is claiming that she is living Spotify. But no, if it's true, then they are dumping her, just like Netflix planned to dump her. So, as everyone knows, not to believe the hype, what anything that comes out of her mouth. We know it's always the opposite. But I've just seen this in Variety, and oh my giddy aunt, honestly, brace yourselves. What a load of mumbo jumbo this is. I'm not going to read it all out, but you know she likes to buy awards, and that's another thing. She bought another award, guys. She bought herself, her and her husband, for Christmas, early Christmas present. She's buying herself and her husband another award. I mean, do these people really think we're stupid? It's the same as the cash for honours thing. You can't genuinely get an award. How can anyone buy themselves an award and then you attend the event and then someone says, "Oh, you've won an award." That must feel actually people must actually feel secretly pretty shit about that. Because I would, if I was that stupid to buy myself an award just to say, "Oh, look what I won." I would deep down be thinking, "Oh, what a fraud. How cheap. How, like," it's hard to explain, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with that, would you? So how can these people be comfortable with buying themselves an award and then making out it's been given to you because you're some, generous, amazing person, when really you're just a dirty old tramp underneath. But anyway, so yeah, apparently Mr. and Mrs. Overseas have bought themselves another award, and there we go. So she's now, Mrs. Overseas is now, can you believe it? Now doing an interview and whatever they're, right, I'm not going to read all of it, but it, oh, this is similar to The Cut actually. So she's definitely behind these puff pieces coming out, trying to make herself out to be a real perfect princess, and just the wording of it, it's definitely her behind this wording, that's for sure. Well, I saw something a minute ago before. Oh, this is just rank. Right, so let's start here. So the world's been so these were the questions asked to Mrs. Overseas. Right, so the world has been mourning the loss of Queen Elizabeth. How has this time been? So again, like this, she'll make herself sound like really hypocritical now because all the time she's slagging off everyone, but when she does interviews, like for the Cut or the whatever this is called, Variety, and she tries to make out that her and the Queen were really close or she really loved the Queen. Well, make your mind up, Mrs. Overseas. And can't people start seeing now, people who support her, can't they start seeing that, hold on a minute, why is she saying this and then saying that? I don't think they want to believe it. I don't think they want to believe. I think this is a typical obsessed, not upset, yeah, obsessed flying monkey syndrome, where they get so used to saying everything positive and not accepting anything negative about that person because they have to be controlled by that narcissist in a certain way, a certain area, where after a while the flying monkeys themselves will just turn into robots basically, because they're just so used to buzzing on one narrative. When they come face to face with a glimpse of a slip up from a narcissist, they're like, oh, okay, what do we do now? We don't want to believe it. That's how flying monkeys operate. It's quite disturbing. What rubbish does it say here? There's been such an outpouring of love and support. I'm really grateful that I was able with my husband to. Oh, sorry. Would help if I learnt to read properly, wouldn't it? I'm really grateful that I was able to be with my husband to support him, especially during that time. What's so beautiful is to look at the legacy that his grandmother was able to leave on so many fronts. Oh goodness, certainly in terms of female leadership. Oh, here we go. She is the most shining example of what that looks like. Well, yeah, that's true, but why didn't you mention that in Oprah? Mrs. Overseas, you never mentioned any of this in Oprah, did you? It's been a complicated time, but my husband, the the optimist, said now she's reunited with her husband. Yeah, she's probably grateful for that too, to get away from you pair of parasites. Question 2. Has anything come up for you in your relationship with the Queen since her passing? I've reflected on the first official engagement that I had with her, how special that felt. Oh God, cringe. I feel fortunate. Yes, so you should. And I continued to be proud to have had a nice warmth with the matriarch of the family. Oh, what? Just hold on a second, right? What's this all about? So I think she needs to quickly rewind here. Do you see? It's just sick, isn't it? This is absolute sick, quite disturbing behaviour. Where are we? Question 3. How have you processed this loss as a family? Oh God, brace yourself for this one, guys. In big moments in life, you get a lot of perspective. It makes you wonder what you want to focus your energy on. Right now, we feel energized and excited about all of the things we have been building towards. We're also focused on our foundation. So much of the work we do includes the, right, I'm rubbish at pronouncing this. Ready? Philanthropic space. Question 4. You've done 2 major interviews since returning to America, one with OW and the other with New York Magazine, which some found to be snarky. Oh yeah. What has it been like to open up about your life now? Mrs. Overseas says the New York story was intended to support archetypes. However, she still doesn't know what archetypes actually means. But shh, don't say anything. And focus on our projects. I've had some time to reflect on it. Part of me is just really trusting, really open. Yeah, we know you're open, love. That's how I move in the world. Yeah, we know how you move in the world, Mrs. Overseas. On your back on a skateboard with your legs in the air, dear. I have a lot. I have a lot. I have to remember that I don't ever want to become so jaded that that piece of me goes away. So despite any of those things, onward I can survive it. Well, yeah. Part of what I'm doing with archetypes is looking at the nuances around the women who come on the show. I'm not a journalist, but you think you are, as well as everything else. But I want a candid, real conversation with them. Yeah, that's what they expect too, Mrs. Overseas. However, you can't handle criticism. I just had to put that one in there quickly. I'm talking to some really textured, colourful, layered, dynamic women with strong histories, and that comes with a lot of pieces you can choose to include or not. I I choose to include something that I feel is fair to them and also uplifting and something we can all learn from. When are you going to learn, Mrs. Overseas? Oh, my days. What the hell? Oh, God, please give me strength. What were the days like after the Oprah interview aired on TV before an audience of 18 million people? Even before the interview, I hadn't been out because I was pregnant. The one thing I remember was Gloria Steinem's birthday. A few days after it aired, I really wanted to celebrate her at what I thought was just going to be a small, intimate birthday lunch. I envisioned it being us eating sandwiches in this cottage she was staying at. Instead, it was an extravaganza, by the way, as she deserves. But I hadn't really seen people with a long time. But I hadn't really seen people in a long time, and the interview had come out maybe a week before. Walking into a room alone is never easy for me. Oh, for good, give me strength. And I remember feeling a bit uncomfortable. But before I could let my uncertainty linger, Pamela Adlon came up to me and greeted me with such warmth and kindness. She toured me around the room, and at every turn, more generosity and love was felt. Maybe it's just a testament to the kind company Glow keeps. Right, okay. But I also think these women are extraordinary to ensure I felt so welcome. It's like they knew exactly what I needed to feel in that moment. It meant and still means so very much to me. The power of sisterhood and female support can never be underestimated. Oh, God. Oh, this one's interesting. What can we expect from Liz Garber's docuseries on you and your husband? It's nice to be able to trust someone with our story, a seasoned director whose work I've long admired, even if it means it may not be the way we would have told it. You see, I wonder if this Liz woman has put her foot down with Mrs. Overseas, and she just had to add this part into it just as a little snarky comment. Carrying on, and that means it will go through their lens. So what is she implying here exactly? Interesting. Moving on. It's interesting. My husband has never worked in this industry before. For me, having worked on Suits, which was shit, it's it's so amazing to be around so much creative energy and see how people work together and share their own points of view. That's been really fun. Right, okay. Right, so jumping down to this bit here. Was it this bit here? Would you ever? Oh, right, yeah, I'll get to that bit in a minute. Right, it says, right, this bit is going to about the Me Too movement and her total hypocrisy. Obviously, she would never, ever allow anyone to type that about her, but here we go. We didn't have a name for it at the time. Yeah, this is because she claimed to be in Hollywood And yeah, she says the industry has shifted quite a bit since I was part of it. She was never part of Hollywood. Hollywood never wanted her. Right, where are we? Right, this is where it gets funny. Oh, God. Right, bear with. We didn't have a name for it at the time. There were just certain things that were accepted. If there was any discomfort, you just dealt with it. It forced a lot of women to live with this idea of staying silent. Yeah, she has a good point there, because HW is known for, shall we say, disrespecting women in a certain area. But we won't go into that now, because sadly, a lot of the time that's in a lot of companies, big companies. That's what just happens, and it does need to be stopped. But here, I'm just pointing out her hypocrisy. Like, we've said many, many times before, it's okay for her to disrespect other people, whether it be male or female, but she's happy to write these articles for these variety people, and the cut and everything can make out was all their idea, but we know it was all her. She's still desperately trying to come across as some sort of saint to the world, some sort of messiah, that she's coming to the rescue, and that she doesn't agree with, the likes of bullies and, men sexually abusing women and disrespecting women, this, that, and the other. Oh, what a load of mumbo jumbo. But I'll just read this. Where are we? Yeah. You just dealt with it. It forced a lot of women. Yeah, we said that bit. Sorry. Not being disruptive, not giving voice to the things that might create concern or discomfort. I'm not too sure if that's 100% true, but I've never been to Hollywood, or would be interested in that sort of thing, so I wouldn't 100% know myself. For me, I had tried for so long to land on a show. Yeah, we know. Filming all these pilots, wondering if they would get picked up. All of season 1 on Suits, I was convinced I was going to get the recast. All the time I got to the point where creator was like, why are you so worried about this? Oh, God. Right, would you ever consider going back? No, I'm done. I guess never say never, but my intention is to absolutely not. Yeah, because you're playing your biggest role now, aren't you, Mrs. Overseas? Like we all know. So, I mean, to be quite honest with you guys, it's just more of the same vermin coming out of her mouth. It's more of the same jumbo, all about her, all about how wonderful she wants to present herself. And even up here, I read briefly, I didn't want to read loads of it, but before the actual interview started, she made sure that they put the word princess in there. Where is it? Oh, God. Yeah, the variety said something about a princess riding on something. Oh, God, I'm not going to say what I want to say there. She burst out laughing at the drop of hat, almost like a princess in a Hollywood movie. Yeah, you see, Mrs. Overseas always had to make sure, wherever she's interviewing, whatever words it says, she always has to make sure they put a princess or Hollywood in there somewhere. This thing is just, oh my God. Just no, it just has to stop now. Well, not stop too much, because she's given us content. So it's important that YouTubers get the content, but we would like to hear something different from you now, Mrs. C's. We're fed up with you claiming that you were a Hollywood star, that you got to stop trying to make out that you're a princess when you never were, never will be. So guys, this is just more of the same, really. It's really not worth entertaining, so it's no point reading it unless you're really, really bored. But I just wanted to point out a few of the hypocrisies in it with regarding the Queen and the Oprah Winfrey video, and that's about it really, guys. I'm desperate for the book because, to be quite honest with you, not much is happening, regarding gossip, etc., etc. But however, if there is any other different topics you want to do, please let me know. But I think everyone's just Meghan Markle at the minute, aren't we? So we just have to go with the trends. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.